Want to get better food videos for your social media like Instagram, TikTok? Well, we're going to be shooting in the vertical format because that's what most want. We're going to be changing angles, perspectives. We're going to be engaging your audience. I'm going to be using the iPhone 14 Pro, but this will work with any camera you have available. So if you want to get better food videos for your social media, let's jump into it. Well, the subject I picked for my food video was making bread. I love making my own bread. It is so good. I am a huge foodie of bread. So that's what I did. I broke it down and I filmed the entire bread making process in all kinds of different clips. Now, because we're doing it for social media, I had to film in the vertical format. What I'm going to do now is show you all the different angles that we can use to make it more engaging and keep people viewing. Because it's social media, few seconds, you need to grab that viewer's attention and you need to be able to hold it. So we need to be changing the angles and perspectives to keep you, the viewer, engaged in what we're doing. Now, all the angles and perspectives I'm going to be showing you could be used on the food. It could be used on the person. It could be used on the person and the food because you're trying to make it engaging. So yes, we could do a close-up of me. We could do a close-up of the food. Or we can do a shot of both of us together. We need to keep the videos engaging. And I'm going to be saying that over and over again. So, angles, perspectives to keep that viewer engaged. Let's have a look at the first scene. And now, you're not going to typically do a big wide open scene when you're doing a food type video. You're going to be showing more of what I will be referring to later as a medium type shot. So this is kind of like an introductory shot, and you can see I'm in a kitchen environment and I'm getting myself prepped, ready to start, and I've got that cool Darth Vader apron happening. But that's kind of like an opening little scene to help set the pace, the environment to what we're doing and what's about to happen. Now, a very commonly used angle is what we call the medium shot. The medium is basically from a waist up in relative type speaking. Now, it could be on the food, it could be on the person, or it could be a combination of two. You can see the little setup that's going on here, and this is how I recorded it. So let's have a look at some examples of a medium type shot. Here's a bit wider of a medium shot, and it helps set the stage. Here is a tighter medium shot showing a little more focus on the food, but you can still see enough of me in there to be classed as a medium. Here again, we've got that full medium going on, and you can see how effective the medium shot is to show the environment, the food, and me. Like I say, that's a very commonly used shot, and you see it all the time on social media. Now, the next one that we're going to look at is a close-up. Now, it doesn't have to be just the food. It could be the person, as I said before. But let's have a look at some close-up examples. The close-up. It's time for my close-up. Here, I just focused on the food because that is the main topic. Here's a little bit of a wider close-up, but it's still closer. It allows your viewer to get engaged, get involved, and have a lot more detail when they're in close. I mean, look, you can see the detail in that in the dough. You can see exactly what's going on because it's nice and close up. It draws the attention to the actual subject. In this case, that dough ball is the focus. Now here, I'm cutting bread and gotta love that straight line I'm cutting, but you're nice and close with me in the background. The close-ups are really cool and it helps really bring in the engagement. But what happens if we get closer, what we call the detail shot? Let's have a look at some examples of a detail type shot. Getting in really close brings the attention, and look at the texture in that dough. You can see all the little air bubbles because the texture is brought out because you're in so close, and it focuses the viewer's attention where you want it. Boy, that really gets in there. You're almost at the macro. Now, another commonly used one, and I really like it, is the POV. Point of view. It basically means you're sitting where I am looking at you. It helps bring the viewer, yourself, into my position to see what I'm seeing. I absolutely love the POVs. It really lets you know what's going on and how to do some of the things. So let's have a look at some examples of POVs. So here's kind of a close-up of the POV, and you can see the hands in there working, and it's coming from my perspective. So the viewer, you, when you're seeing this, it's like you're actually doing it. You're seeing it from my side. You're seeing exactly what's going on. So when I'm slicing this bread, I'm not slicing it, you're slicing the bread. It takes the viewer into it. Now here we've got a kind of a combination thing, which we'll talk about in a minute, where you can add different views to this. But here again, the POV, you can see from my point of view and your point of view exactly what's going on. As I say, the POVs are really good because it gives you a different perspective. It gives you, as the audience, my eyes, you get to see exactly what's going on, which is really cool. The next angle we're going to look at is the overhead. So you're looking straight down on the subject. You see this used quite commonly. Let's have a look at some examples of some overhead. This is that wonderful overhead or top-down view, if you want to call it that. It is used a lot when you're doing video work and instructional type videos like this. It gives the viewer a totally different perspective. They get a new angle to it. They get to see exactly what's going on. And like I say, it's a whole new perspective. And here is a closer up version, but it's still a top-down shot to help bring that viewer in and engage them. So you can see you kind of get a bit of a combination thing going on there, which we'll talk about later. But the overhead is a great perspective, and it helps keep it fresh when you're changing all these angles and perspectives up all the time. Now here's an angle you don't see a whole lot of, and that's kind of an up angle. I've got the camera set down lower, kind of shooting up, and you can see I'm kind of holding the dough and stretching it up. And it really empowers the subject, whether it be me or the dough or whatever. I don't see it used a lot, but it is interesting to be able to put like an up angle in there now and again, just to help keep it fresh, keep it new. Another very commonly used shot is the straight on shot, where you're looking at it basically at almost like your eye level. So you're shooting the subject straight on. Let's have a look at examples of some of the straight on shots. Straight on angle. It's basically done at eye level for the viewer. So it's basically like the viewer's looking eye level at what's going on within the scene. And it helps, especially when you're doing tutorials and learning type stuff within your food videos. Remember, you got to change it up, keep it fresh to keep that viewer wanting to watch. Now I did talk about combining shots. So you could do an overhead with a detail. So you could be zoomed right down into it and you're getting that top-down view. Again, you could be doing that close up on a down angle on a 45 where you're on that tilt. You can combine different views and angles. You don't have to be just straight down or just straight on. You can do variations of to make it interesting. Combining different angles and perspectives works fantastic for keeping your viewer engaged. Here's a POV top down. What happens now if I get in and do a detail kind of POV? It's like your hands are playing with that dough. It brings the viewer in and keeps them interested in your video. And that's what it's about. Here again, top down POV brings the viewer in, great angles to play with. So you can see how combining different angles could be very effective. You could do an overhead detail. You could do a down, kind of a wider shot. You could combine them. And the goal is what? To keep the viewer watching. Keep changing your angles. Keep changing your perspectives. Keep that momentum going and keep that viewer engaged. So play with different combinations of these angles and views, and you can create some really interesting and effective food videos. Well, there you go. I just showed you a bunch of different angles and perspectives, things you might not have been aware of for your food videos for your social media. Now, as I said at the beginning, I filmed the entire bread making process. I think I got 45 different video clips that I can use to create a reel. I'm not going to show it to you now. But how about this coming Monday for Monday's Minutes? I'm going to create a short and I'll produce a reel based on all these clips and things that you were seeing, and we'll see how effective it is. You can let me know on Monday for Monday's Minutes. So that's it for this one. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos like this. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. So, until the next time.